Hey, Ballerina. Hey, Cheyenne. Ah, shoot. Shoot. What's today? Wednesday? Hang on. Shoot. What's today? Wednesday? Hang on. Yes, it's Wednesday. Hey, Peter. Hey, Nicola. Anthony, Tommy Tom is still crying. Hey, Damood. I did think that was funny, Anthony. I really did think that was funny, pal. Hey, Big Hawk. How you doing, pal? There were a lot of, yesterday was so busy, man. There was so much going on, and there was just as much going on today. I mean, this lead up to the elections is really something to watch, boy. The Ukrainians are pulling out all the stops. Hey, Tisno, last night was the biggest drone attack of the war of the Ukrainians on the territory of Russia. And we will talk about that in just 1 second here. Yeah, there's a lot going on, boy. The Russians are winning. Well, that's what they always say, right? Like, that's what the trolls are always saying in the comments. Russia is winning, right? There's 1 million Ukrainians unalived, and they're taking all the territory. You got to be kidding. I mean, these people are seriously math challenged. Seriously math challenged indeed. Hey, Bertie, how you doing? I'm enjoying my tea. It's a nice Ceylon red. So we're plugging along here in Kyiv today. It's been cold. We had some snow yesterday. Hey, Dark Irish. Sri Lanka now. You're in Sri Lanka. Oh, interesting. Have they thrown out all the Russians? I meant to report on that, but I haven't. Hey, Mad Mike. Hey, John Williams. The Russians in Sri Lanka, there were like 20,000 Russians that fled the draft and went to Sri Lanka. And they all had their long-term visas revoked because of some open racism. They threw a party, and there were the requirements for attending the party, and one was face color white. Like, that's what it said in Russian on the fucking invitations. Unbelievable, these people. Hey, Sharon Davies. They have no shame, Eli. You can't shame them. There's no shaming them. There's just no shaming them. They have no shame. So I kind of lost track. I'm not sure. I think tonight, Jason Willis Starrins is the second night of his sponsorship. Oh, Ceylon. I'm sorry, Bertie. Got it. Yeah, there's no shaming the shameless. They will go to their graves thinking that they are the victims, that they're the ones that are misunderstood. Right? What is wrong with everybody? Why don't people have a sense of humor when I insult them? Why don't people have a sense of humor when I abuse them? What is wrong with everybody? They will go to their graves thinking that they are the ones who have been wronged. It's a psychopathy. Hey, Eli. Hey, Daniel Ballard. Dude, I've been meaning to call you. Maybe after the live, if you're around, I'll give you a shout. Polish PM called out Moscow Mike today. Everybody's calling out Moscow Mike, a piece of shit. Unbelievable, that guy. All right, so there is an awful lot going on. So let's take a look at the news, shall we, guys? So today is Wednesday, March 13th, day 749 of the Kremlin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. And today, now yesterday I reported on 2 oil depots being hit. because I reported the information early, we didn't really know what was hit. And it turns out that they were not oil depots, they were refineries. One of them, one of the biggest refineries in Russia, processing 340,000 barrels of oil a day into refined oil products like motor oil, fuel oil, that kind of thing, all intended to keep Russians in the Moscow area warm and their cars running. It's going to be a problem. And then the Oriole plant, about 200 miles or 330 kilometers southwest of Moscow. And then today we saw the Ryazan oil plant hit, another big plant, one of the top four processing refineries in Russia, also processing 340,000 barrels of oil a day. Just unbelievable. If you take all of that together, if you take the Volgograd refinery, which was shut down February 3rd from a drone attack, if you take the Rosneft refinery that was shut down January 25th from a drone attack, Volgograd processed 314,000 barrels a day. Rosneft processed 240,000 barrels a day. Now, the Lukoil facility, they say, is only 50% offline, right? So normally that plant processes 6% of the refined oil products for the entire Russian Federation. So with 50% of its production capacity offline, it's only going to be able to process 3% of the Russian Federation's needs. 340,000 barrels a day. So that's 170,000 barrels a day, not with no processing capacity, plus 340, plus 240, plus 314, plus 150, plus 170. That's 1,214,000 barrels of oil that Russia cannot process every day. That's 12% of its capacity. 12%. It's huge, huge. And the 12%, my numbers match the 12%, but the 12% was verified by Bloomberg for those that are interested in that kind of thing. The Russian MOD says that of the 70 drones that entered its territory last night, it shot down 65 of them. Now, that's bullshit, of course, of the first order, because of the number of targets that were hit. MK, I'm sorry, I can't bring you live, pal. I'm in Kyiv. We don't have the bandwidth. Every time I try to bring somebody live, it crashes on me. So huge drone night. Now, in addition to the refineries that were hit, in Belgorod, the headquarters of the FSB was hit. Windows were blown out. There's burn marks on the side of the building. It's messy. There was also an airfield in Voronezh hit, but we don't know what kind of damage was done. On the other side of the equation, Sumy and Donetsk were pummeled with Russian drones last night. An apartment block was hit. 5 people were unalived. Rescue workers are still digging through the debris, searching for bodies and survivors. It's a nightmare, and that's the second night in a row. Kyiv was hit the night before. In Bulgaria, a sea mine, one of the big old-fashioned ones with all the big round with all the prongs sticking out that are normally tethered, anchored to the bottom of the sea, had broken loose. They said that it was covered in bioaccumulation, so barnacles and seaweed growing on it. And it washed up in Bulgaria. The Bulgarian Navy towed it out to sea and destroyed it. The Czech President Peter Pavel says that they have the money now to buy 500 of the 800,000 shells. And so they are going to go ahead and with the purchase of those. And now he is saying that they will not be delivered until July. That's very disappointing. We keep seeing this. We see these promises for quick delivery, and then it's put off for months and months and months. You know, what did we hear about the F-16s, that they'd be here back in December, late December, early January? Then we heard March, April. Now we're here in June, July for the F-16s. It's got to be driving the Ukrainians crazy. In the new U.S. military aid package, the $300 million, I had said last night that it included HIMARS, air defense, anti-tank, and small arms. And I did not see any ATACMs. Other people said that it included ATACMs, and that was widely reported in the press. That is not accurate. It does not include ATACMs. However, the Pentagon did release a statement today saying that they have okayed the transfer of ATACMs to Ukraine. Now, when that's going to happen, how many they're going to get, we don't know. But there are no ATACMs in this package. U.S. intelligence agencies, all of them, have submitted a joint report to Congress. All 18 agencies agree that the U.S. Congress' lack of action on the Ukraine aid bill is shifting the momentum in favor of our enemies in the Kremlin. They are complicit in this, the Congress. If you are an American and you have not called your congressman yet to encourage them to sign the discharge petition, please do so. Or take a look at our discharge petition letter in the Google Docs share. Vanetta, do you want to put up the Google Docs share? Or do you just want people to contact you? Whatever you want to do. Vanetta has the Google Docs share with the discharge petition letter in it, if you want to send your congressman something in writing. And the discharge petition is currently being circulated. They're trying to get the votes. They only need 218 votes. It's a simple majority. I was mistaken when I said that it was a supermajority. It's not. It's a simple majority. It's all they need. The problem is that we don't have all the Democrats on board because the progressives don't want to give Israel any more military aid, despite the fact that there's $9 billion in humanitarian aid in there for Gaza. Maybe if anybody's got a relationship, with the Fab Five, anybody on the Fab Five, give them a call and mention that aid for Gaza. They need food. Let's see. The trolls are all over my shit today about the Freedom of Russia League, the Siberian Brigade, the Siberian Battalion, and the Russian Volunteer Corps. And they are all saying the same thing. They've all been unalived. It's all over. They were chased back to Ukraine with their tails between their legs. That is not what's happening. There's video all over Telegram of Russians fleeing their homes to the sounds of gunfire and shelling in the background. Now, the Russian MOD is claiming that it has unalived 234 combatants. Really? You've unalived 234. You've unalived two. I can see the fucking Russian propagandists at the MOD having this conversation. What should we say? Should we say they unalived 2, 3, 4? Say yes. Say 2, 3, 4. It's good. It's good. I mean, I'd like to see some video, please, of how Russia is winning. Oh, God. Did you see my video about the Russian cemeteries? The Russian military cemeteries some of them are doubled in size from 2021 to 2023. And that's in spite of the fact that the Russians use those mobile crematoria for the first year. It's outrageous. Gerasimov has been fired apparently 3 months after he was unalived in Crimea. Hey, thanks, Trash Hunter. Just ridiculous. Just like they fired Rear Admiral Sokolov last week, blaming him for the Black Sea Fleet, right? They want you to believe these guys are still alive so they can blame the failures on them. Oh, Sokolov, Black Sea Fleet sink. Sokolov, we fire him. It's his fault. Guy's been dead for 4 months. I mean, it's ridiculous beyond words. Hey, Leo Ring, how you doing, pal? Oh, Leo, you know what? You're one of the people I should have mentioned on that stupid video I did. On the video, I did a video today about how I appreciate everybody, and there's so many people that contribute so much here that naturally, I mean, I got the core group, but there's a lot more. Leo is one, definitely. Krina is one, definitely. People like who, as soon as I posted, I thought, oh shit, why didn't I mention yada, yada, yada? So anyway, believe me, you're loved. Putin gave an interview, another interview, not the talk on the TV, but to some Russian journalist, where again, he repeated the threat of nuclear arms. Now, this is the best part of the interview, though. Are you ready for this? Follow the Kremlin logic here for me. They have been screaming about negotiations and peace settlements, right? Because Putin wanted to freeze the war so that he could rearm and take the rest of Ukraine. That's what's really going on. Well, today he tipped his hand, because today in this interview, when asked about negotiations, you know what he said? He said, the idea of negotiation is ridiculous now that Ukraine run out of ammunition. Okay, so he never wanted peace. He never really wanted peace talks. And he said it by suggesting that now that Ukraine is running out of ammunition, we have no reason to talk about peace or make a deal. Now we can roll over them. That's what he's thinking. He's going to be shocked when that ammunition comes in from Latvia and the Danes and the EU and the Czechs. He's going to be shocked. So, guys, that's it for me. Not as much. I didn't have as much prepared as I would like to have. There were some other things I wanted to look at. But the lack of this extra hour is killing me. I cannot wait until we are all back on daylight savings time. I really, seriously, I need to get back on daylight savings time. Pedro the Amigo. Another IL fell out of the sky. Yesterday, Eli, not today, right? I didn't see anything today. That was yesterday. Engine caught fire. They managed to put the fire out, but then the engine fell off. And there must have been something else wrong in there. Because, it did not work. Who's Putin going to put on the Finnish border? Because Putin says he's going to rearm the Finnish border, right? So apparently there has been a change in Kremlin doctrine regarding recruiting for the Border Patrol. Border Patrol and border guards will now include women. And so he's basically going to put women on the border. Now, he's not saying that, but if you read the changes to Russian doctrine, it's obvious. Who else is he going to put there? Well, Bobby, that's because there's a 10-hour time difference. Well, 9 hours now that you're on daylight savings time and I'm not. Yeah, Eli, I'm sorry. That's because of daylight savings time. America has changed and the rest of us have not. And here in Ukraine, we don't change until March 31st. So I won't be back to normal until March 31st. Betty Thompson, there's another person I should have mentioned today. Sorry, Betty. Hey, Norman Roach. Hey, Nightshade. Border Guard doesn't sound like much of a deployment. Well, I mean, whatever we think about it, that seems to be Putin's solution. He's going to put women in the border guards, and they're going to man the Finnish border. The Finnish border. They're going to woman the Finnish border. Not the soldiers from India. I'm afraid the soldiers from India are all already unalived. They always said they didn't use women, Jillian. Yes, that is a doctrinal change for the Russians, which means, of course, that they're desperate for bodies. Is he going to put trolls on the Finnish border? That's funny. Oh, I dig it, Eli. I dig it. And there you go. Blame us for timing now. I was shaking my head. Yeah, well, look at the world blames America for everything. Why shouldn't I? Hey, MB. Do you think the Finnish army is underrated? I am not a military person. I don't know shit about the Finnish army unless I go and listen to some expert that talks about the Finnish army. I have no idea. Putin can use the dragon teeth on the Finnish border. Okay. We're putting troops to the Finn border. What troops? Women. New women recruits. Hey, Dutch, how you doing, pal? I hear he's back home. The topic mark here is always Ukraine. I just went through the news, the top line news items for the day, and now it is open Q&A. Questions, comments, points of observation, personal need. Russia is having a civil war. Some of its territory is currently occupied. There is an insurgent group threatening terror-like bomb attacks during the election. The day after we joined NATO, there were Russian planes over south of Sweden and drones, says Anna Lotta. Welcome to the club, Anna Lotta. Finland have the best snipers in the world. Yeah, don't they always win the biathlon, those guys? Or it's a toss-up between the Swedes and the Finns usually most years? Mel, I'm the wrong person to ask that question to because I have my own ideas about that. Could Putin flee somewhere? Who would take him? Blunders. Blunders. So I can't confirm this. I've been trying to confirm it. It was one of the things I spent time on today, but I couldn't get an official confirmation on this. But it appears that the 4 doomsday planes that the Kremlin has, right, for like if there was a nuclear war, you get on the doomsday plane and it stays in the air for 1 million years. It refuels in the air and everything. You never have to land. It appears that the 4 doomsday planes all took off today. Now, we know that Putin has 3 body doubles. If the actual Putin is still among the living, it is possible that he and the 3 body doubles each took a separate plane and they are currently circling the Arctic Circle or they have gone to bunkers in separate locations. We do not know. And I'm trying, maybe tomorrow I'll be able to get some confirmation on where Putin is. Maybe paint faces on the dragon teeth to make it appear patrolled. Oh, just like painting planes on the tarmac, right? For the satellite, so they think you have more planes. What are the chances for them recruiting new soldiers on the way to Moscow? So Trash Hunter, that's a great question. Trash Hunter says, hey, Petey, remember the Prigozhin mutiny? Remember how all the Russian regulars just stood aside? They just looked the other way. Oh, did Prigozhin come through with 30,000 troops? I didn't notice. Oh, sorry. Now, we know that among the Russian brigades, there are Wagnerites. Is it possible that something similar is going on? That they have contacted their friends in the Russian regulars and said, hey, just stay the fuck out of our way, and we'll take care of it. Could that be happening? It's not impossible that that's what's happening. Could it even be that of the 11,000 troops, regular troops that are in Belgorod, that some of those companies or regiments or battalions or brigades have commanders that are sympathetic and are going to turn their men's guns around and point them in the right direction at the Kremlin, where the real enemy is. Like 1917 all over again, the whites and the reds. So Trash Hunter, we don't know. But I'll tell you something, the behavior of the Russian brigades is very weird. Normally with a cross-border raid like this, they go across the border, they commandeer as much ammunition and weaponry as they can, they get their asses out of there back to Ukraine. This time, they are occupying towns and taking territory. They are broadcasting to the people of Belgorod and Kursk that they should flee, that they are in danger, that the Russian Freedom Legion is coming, that they have to bomb these military targets that the Russians have hidden inside of civilian cities. And so to preserve civilian life, they are encouraging everyone to flee, evacuate. Now, if that happens, if the people of Belgorod say, fuck this, and take off, that's going to have a knock-on impact on the level of panic in the Russian society. And then there's the question of the Russian regulars that are left behind. How will they greet these men? Will they open fire on their fellow Russians? Or will they join them? Just like 1917, 1 million Russians walked right off the battlefield. Actually, it might have been 2 million. Can somebody look that up? Or does anybody know off the top of your head? Putin's time is up. Wouldn't that be nice? What is the number of those regiments? We do not know. We do not know. Now, Dom Nichols? No, not, wait. Yeah, Dom Nichols. Dom Nichols, who reports for the London Telegraph and is a former tank commander. He said when the Russian MOD announced 234 unalived, he said he didn't think that there were enough in the brigades for that number to even be a realistic number. So we don't really know. Now, all up, it is said that between the three reserves, there are maybe 6,000 guys. In the Siberian Brigade, I'm pretty sure it's only 600. So only 1/10 of them are in the SB. And then the others are in the Russian Volunteer, and the majority, maybe 4 of the 6,000, are in the Freedom Legion. So we don't know really how many people are in them. And that's a big question that we'd like to see answered. Because even if there are 6,000, even if they all win on this mission, they can't face 11,000 Russian regulars in Belgorod alone. They're outnumbered 2-1. They'll never make it to Moscow unless those regulars stand aside. See Putin's interview today with nuclear rhetoric for the millionth time. What are your thoughts on it? MB, we talked about that before. The nuclear rhetoric is nonsense, of course, but more importantly from that video, he said it is ridiculous now to consider negotiating with Ukraine, that they are running out of ammunition. So he exposes himself for the lying sack of shit he is when he says things like that, because it means he never wanted negotiations. He just wanted to freeze the conflict so he could claim some gains and he could rearm himself to take the rest of the country. It's nonsense of the worst order. A demoralized army may well look the other way, says Bertie. They did with Eugene's rebellion, remember? Et tu, Ivan, et tu. They can make it alone. I'll remind you of the Chosin Reservoir. I don't know what that is, Duval. New card is so overused it doesn't work that well anymore. Let's hope so. Let's hope that people are catching on. Because it seems to me that among the politicians and the diplomatic corps, it works just fucking fine. Every time Putin opens his mouth and says that, the West goes, ooh, no, we won't send Taurus. The frozen chosen. Doesn't mean anything to me, Norman. Is that a World War II reference? Chosin sounds Chinese or Korea. Okay. Marines surrounded on all sides, outnumbered 10-1. The Tsarist General Nikolai Dukhonin estimated that there had been 2 million deserters in 1917. 2 million. Thanks, pal. Who said that anyway? Fifth dim. Oh, the Mushroom Head. Hey, Mushroom Head. Thanks. Maybe the regulars might join them in the revolution. Will Putin mobilize more people after the election? So they've already said that they were going to mobilize another 300,000 by June. So it is my opinion that as soon as he is inaugurated, he's going to do a full mobilization. The entire country will be mobilized. It's the next step. It's the only thing he's got left. Who is the biggest supplier of drones to Ukraine? Just imagine if they had more. I believe that these days, the biggest supplier of drones to Ukraine is Ukraine. Their domestic production has ramped up to 2 million drones a year. What name was given to that so that I can read more? The Frozen Chosen. 95% of that money stays in the U.S. to resupply our stocks. Correct, Big Hawk. Gold star. Is there a Harkonnen here? The regulars will join the rebels. They're tired of being cannon fodder. I hope you're right, Harkonnen. I hope you're right. What's up with the Ukrainian mobilization? The Rada is still working through the draft, right? They don't have a draft in this country. Right now it's a full volunteer corps. So they're going to have to impose a draft. And the Rada has a draft under consideration. A draft bill under consideration for implementing a draft. And they expect they'll probably get it passed later this month, and it'll go into effect April 10th or something. Where is he finding people to fight? I assume, Maureen, you're talking about Putin. They have shanghaied, right? They lie to people. They go to the poorest countries on earth and they say, hey, would you like to come to Mariupol and help us in reconstruction? And they say, sure, I can build houses. I'm a tradesman, whatever, right? So whether you're from Cuba or Kenya or Sri Lanka or India or Nepal or Thailand or China or North Korea, you go to Mariupol, you expect that you're going to be building houses. They take your passport, they give you a gun and a uniform, and they say, oh, by the way, we're going to need you to go on live Ukrainians on the front line. That's why they don't care about casualty rates. They aren't even Russians. Yeah. Is Ukraine in a wartime economy like Russia? You know, mushrooms, I don't know the answer to that, really. Because wartime economy says that you gear all of your production to the production of war materiel, right? Like that becomes your overwhelming thing. And the reality is that right now here in this country, there is a diversity of industry and a free market capitalism at work. So my amateur inclination, just off the top of my head, not looking at this, I would say not. But I'd have to look at some definitions of terms and the actual data on the ground to be able to answer that appropriately. Hello, Croatia. Don't tell Tisno you're here. No, I'm just kidding. Tell Tisno you're here. We got more than one person from Croatia here. From Moscow to Siberia are the people that is fighting in Ukraine. Yeah, that's true. You were born with the name Harkonnen. You were born with the name of the royal family of Gidi Prime. The enemies, the generational enemies of the Atreides, you were born with that name. That's a real name that you were born with. How would you answer my former friend who says Ukraine is corrupt and sending money is pointless? Well, Duval, I would point out to that person that we have excellent controls on the money, right? We have very high accountability. We have transparency. And there's very little actual money trading hands. You know, when we say that we've sent $76 billion in military aid, that's not accurate. We didn't actually send a dime. All we did was clean out the garage and said a bunch of old fucking weapons. Those Patriot missiles they use, they have production dates of 1986. Reagan paid for those out of his budget. Those HIMARS units, none of them have been retrofitted since 1993, if they were ever retrofitted at all. George Bush the First paid for them. That's that kind of thing. The cluster munitions, anywhere, right? So you get the idea, right? It's old shit. Where did the 70 billion come in then? Well, we spent 70 billion to replenish our own stocks, to get shiny new missiles for our guys, shiny new shells that aren't going to be duds or blow, banana peel the barrels of the howitzers, like some of the old shit can. And so instead of spending tens of millions of dollars on decommissioning old shit, we're using it to destroy the Russians and attrit the Russian stockpiles of Soviet materials that those weapons were built for in the first place. That Reagan would be so proud. And then, okay, so that's the first 76 billion, right? 70 billion of it stayed in the United States to provide jobs in the defense sector for 38 states. 38 states, man. And those are good jobs. They pay good money. What about the other 6 billion? Where'd that go? Mostly into training. Did we send pallets of cash on C-130s so that they could do their own training? Fuck no. We sent planes to pick them up and bring them to our training facilities in Arizona, where they got trained, or somewhere else in another NATO country where we set up a training facility. So the other 6 billion, we didn't actually send them a dime of it. We built training camps for them and trained them. There's no money to even account for there because it's all on the Pentagon balance sheet. Dig it? A person whose name means death sentence just said that I look kind. Well, thank you, Fatwa. Nice to meet you. I watched a documentary last night, 20 Days in Mariupol was the most harrowing thing I've ever seen. It was also Ukraine's first Oscar. You got to watch it, MB. You got to watch it. Ukraine is corrupt. Somebody here says Ukraine is not corrupt. No, Ukraine is corrupt. Like every post-Soviet nation, they are struggling with the endemic bureaucratic corruption here. You are blind to the realities if you say that Ukraine doesn't have a corruption problem. It does, but they are working on it. You guys know, well, those who follow the channel know that every time there's a major breaking corruption story where somebody's going to jail or getting prosecuted, I report it because it is evidence that this administration is working to address the real endemic corruption. And it's a real thing. Make no mistake. Wonder how popular Russian people will be in the countries where they shanghaied when... Come on, Lars. The Sri Lankans are throwing out all the Russians. They revoked their long-term visas. 20,000 Russians have to be out by the end of next week. Thanks, SV. Laugh is like a fingerprint. That's mine. Oh, he's a maggot. Sorry, Duval. But dude, that's what I just described is the reality. We're not writing checks to these people for $76 billion. No. No. Asphalt Schneider, you do blacktop, brother. The author said he made up the name based on Finnish names. Ah, is Harkonnen Finnish? Oi, oi, that 5 more billion euros to help Ukraine. Is that the announcement that the EU commissioner made today? I just saw the headline. I didn't have a chance to read it. Hey, Paul Molman. Pete, do you see Ukraine corruption on local level? I think it's very minimal, right? So, Bobby, I don't see corruption at all. So guys, I'll tell you a story. This is a true story. My second night here, I did not even know the city. I was so ignorant when I got here. I didn't even know the city was under curfew. So it's my second night here. The first night I was too exhausted to do anything. I got into the hotel room, collapsed, slept. The next night I wanted to go out and see the city a little bit. So I got a cab. I went to a bar. I met some people. We were drinking there. Then all of a sudden it was midnight and everybody was gone. And I was drunk. I don't get drunk often. That was the last time that I got drunk, I'll tell you. No, there was one time after that. Yeah, there was. So I was definitely drunk. So I go outside to get a cab. I get on the app to call an Uber. No cars are available. The app is basically shut down. I'm like, what's going on here? There's nobody on the street. I'm drunk. I'm walking down the street. I'm singing show tunes, right? All of a sudden, the cops pull up, and they want to see my ID. I say, hey, guys, how you doing? Here's my passport. What are you doing? And they're like, okay, buddy, get in the back of the car. And I'm like, okay. And I get in the back of the cop car, and they taxi me back to the hotel. It's a good thing because it was like almost 2 kilometers away. And they taxied me back to the hotel. They didn't try to get me to bribe them. They didn't try to bring me into the station and get me to pay a fine in cash. Nothing. They were pleasant, professional. They drove me right to my hotel, dropped me off, and they got the front desk clerk to explain to me that there is a curfew in this city. You can't ask for more. Hey, thanks, Van. That was my second time doing stand-up, and it wasn't terrible, so I think I'm going to try to do it again. Good evening, Simon. How you doing? I think if Ukraine can produce more drones, maybe they can win against the Russians. Yeah, Kijo, you're probably right. They just wanted you to stop singing. Oh, Jesus, Nightshade, you and Dark Irish are on the same page with that. And my ex-wife, the three of you, the unholy trinity. Look, I know I'm not a good singer, but I love to sing. I need a girlfriend that's like tone deaf. Or maybe just deaf. I don't know. That might be even better. I could learn sign language. So guys, other questions about what's going on in Ukraine. It's very exciting times, I must say. I was really concerned that the next 3 months are going to be very difficult. Yeah, and blind, deaf and blind, you're right. Is your stand-up on your bio page? No, it's just, I didn't make a separate TikTok for the improv and the comedy. I'm just putting it all here. Did monies pass upon the hill? No. Moscow Mike is holding it all up. How many soldiers attacked on the Russian side? We don't, you're talking about the Russian brigades. We don't know, Anonymous. We do not know. It could be anywhere from 600 to 6,000. But Dominic Nichols thinks that it's closer to 600. When the war is over, come to Croatia to the most beautiful sea in the world. Tisno, I will so take you up on that. Anything we can do to help Ukraine, there's a million things, and the place to go to find them is on united24.gov.ua. United24 or u24.gov.ua. There's a lot of things there. If you have a Ukrainian church in your community, they're undoubtedly organizing things. You know, you can probably go down there and help pack boxes, load trucks, etc. The temperature here right now is about 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. We had about 3 inches of snow yesterday and today. Micro Johnson. Ooh, I like that. My understanding is that only the House so far has passed the TikTok ban. The Senate must take it up next, and they must pass that there. Then it has to go to Biden for signature. And then even if he signs it, there's a 6-month divestiture period. So there's time, guys. Nothing to do with grammar. It's just the name of the country, Ukraine. What does that mean? Is that some sidebar? It's Jason Willis Starrins here. Hey, Jason Willis Starrins. Everybody thank Jason. He's the sponsor of tonight's live. Okay, was it MB that said that? Who said that? Jeez Louise, you're scrolling on me too fast, guys. MB said, is it true that all those revolution soldiers were killed? No. We don't know what kind of casualties were sustained, but they certainly, the trolls are all saying the same thing. Well, if that's true, why are they fleeing? Why is there so much video of civilians fleeing to the sounds of shelling and gunfire and drones in the background? I don't know what that means about worldwide naturalization. I'm in Kyiv, Franklin. Any good organizations close to me? Suzanne, I don't know. You'd have to take a look. The cost to reconstruct Ukraine will be astronomical and take 10 years. It's currently estimated at $1.3 trillion. 75 and sunny in Knoxville. No, I'm not in Russia. I'm in Kyiv. Imagine all the stand-up jokes you will make about Putin when he's dead and Ukraine and Russia are free. Honest to God, I'm making them up now. Did Peter see the corruption list? Ukraine 104, Turkey 115, Russia 141. Hey, Pedro the Amigo, thanks so much. Pedro the Amigo says that if you Google the corruption list 2023, it gives you a list of countries by their levels of corruption. And it is worth noting that Ukraine comes in at 104. Turkey, who's a NATO member, is at 115. And Russia is at 141. Nice. Well done. Thanks, Pedro. Uh, 26 Celsius in the Philippines. 26 Celsius. What is that? That's like... That's like 84 Fahrenheit, huh? Nice. Hey, Russell Kennedy, how you doing? $64 in NYC. God, we got everybody from the Philippines to the Netherlands to San Diego here. I love that. I love this shit, man. I just love it. Do you think Putin's close associates will turn on him if he tries to go nuclear? I don't think he's not going nuclear. He's not suicidal. I don't think that's even a serious thing for him. I really don't. Any man who says I am not bluffing is bluffing. There's no reason to say it if you're going to do it. I don't know who's behind trying to block TikTok. I mean, I got to tell you, I'm kind of sympathetic because it is clearly a Chinese propaganda tool. Believe me, I never thought I would be on this fucking thing. Oklahoma. Where are you in Oklahoma, Kay? I just spent some time in Tulsa and Cherry Creek. The air farce. Hey, Aircraft Recycling. How you doing, pal? 65 in San Diego. Thank you, Russell. In the Atlantic, Nova Scotia was attached. Virginia, not D.C. I don't know what that means. The list was out of 180 countries, and Ukraine was number 104. It's awesome progress, even above a NATO ally. Yeah, Pedro, I agree. Ciao, bello. Como stai? I used to work for a guy named Mirko Prada, and I would come in at night and say that to him, and he would say, "What the language is this? What do you say?" Why does Putin threaten nukes all the time? Putin threatens nukes all the time because he knows it scares us. That's why. That's exactly why. That's all. Because this regular army doesn't work. Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. Yeah, man, I'm in Kyiv. Jason, that's funny because his regular army doesn't work. Good night, Peter. Stay safe. Good night, Birdie. Hello, my friend. I am French. Bonsoir. Mais dites-moi, savez-vous ce que veut dire entre nous? Delaware, Maryland is a threat. Yes, it is. Their conventional military is weak. Yes, it is. Vanetta, why am I getting thanks from you right now? That's weird. I'm the one that owes you thanks. Oui, mon frère, allons affronter la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Hey, Zed. Yeah, probably, pal. DM me. Have I ever gone nuclear after Taco Bell? I have never eaten Taco Bell. Swear to God, dude. That is the truth. I mean, I've read about Taco Bell. I've seen people eat Taco Bell. I personally have never eaten Taco Bell. If I'm going to do fast food, it's going to be KFC, but not in this country. Oh, my God. It's going to be KFC or Burger King. If I'm in California, an In-N-Out Burger. I do like an In-N-Out Burger. But I try to avoid that shit because I'm fucking fat already. Do I think Russia will fight with NATO? No. Russia can't fight with NATO. Russia can't even fight with Ukraine. What a joke. Will Russia fight with NATO? The situation at the front is stable, Antonio. It's stable. And that is about all to be said for it, I would say. Okay, kids, it's 5 to the top of the hour. We got 5 minutes. Final thoughts. The big news today, of course, Russian Freedom Brigade, insurgents fighting a civil war in Russia, taking territory and beating back the aggressor state. And the largest drone attack on the territory of the Russian Federation by the Ukrainians since the start of the war, 70 drones, destroying 12% of Russia's refining capabilities. Ukraine is currently not firing missiles into Russia. Well, they did last night. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for everything. Guys, if you like what I do, please like, subscribe, and share. If you really like what I do, please consider joining the Patreon. I got a Patreon. The link is in the bio. If you want to sponsor a live, go ahead and PayPal me some cash. $30 gets you your own sponsorship, like Jason Willis Starrins tonight, who was our sponsor. Thank him, please. Anything less than that, you'll be part of the group of sponsors for Saturday Night's Live, which is also sponsored by the Patreons and the TikTok subscribers. Or you can buy a TikTok subscription. That's a thing, too. And any of that helps keep me here. Any of that helps keep me here. Why is this person still here? Cheyenne, you're letting me down here. You're going to get me in trouble again. If I have to see shit like this. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, thanks. Big thanks to the best moderator team on Tickety Talk. Behind the irony curtain. Cheyenne, Vanetta, John Williams, PT, Jay, and Travis. Thank you guys, as always. Thank you so much. And big thanks to Nighthawk, who does the Peter's Peeps page on the Book of Faces. If you haven't joined us over there yet, get on the Book of Faces and look for Peter's Peeps. And big thanks to Lars, who is sunning himself in the Philippines right now, but runs the Discord server, which is another resource for people on this channel. Anybody have a final question? I think we got 2 minutes, minute and a half. Hey, gerbils. Teamwork makes the dream work. Damn Skippy. Thank you, Nicola. Yeah, because there's no way that I would still be on this platform without the moderator team. They save me from myself every single night. Pedro, that's a good idea. I think I'll try to do that. Where's the US? Like 50, 55? Do you know off the top of your head, or do you have it in front of you? Big thank you to Jason Willis-Starren, who sponsored tonight's live and has really come through for me so many times on a number of things. Deeply appreciative. We're number 1 on the corruption index. We have the least corruption of any country in the world. Even less than Canada? How is that possible? Less than Canada and New Zealand? Denmark is number 1. That sounds more like it. That definitely... The Danes, that... Oh, I forgot to mention the Danes, guys. I'm sorry. I did mean to mention the Danes. Denmark just put together a... They just put the Americans to shame with a $337 million package that includes Caesar self-propelled howitzers, those French self-propelled howitzers. Yeah. All right. That's the top of the hour, guys. So I'm going to... call it a night. Guys, if you can join the Patreon, please do. I could really use the help. I appreciate it. And Lars is happy because we broke 50K likes on the thing. All right. Good night, everybody. Make it a great day.